Korea closer to behaving like a real country than anyone in our lifetime.
The Department of Homeland Security has released the gang members that were shielded from deportation because of sanctuary policies.
We have illegal aliens just roaming the communities with guns, just shooting everybody up. No one does nothing because they think it won't happen to them. If it's one of their childs or their grandkids, they'll be raising hell.
The city of Houston, Texas, celebrating the life of former First Lady Barbara Bush, lighting up City Hall there on the right in her favorite color ahead of tomorrow's public memorial.
A big surprise for a mom on Long Island, U.S. Airman Eric Benzing, surprising his mother, Regina.
I'm just really proud of him.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Sing it, Shania. Welcome aboard, folks. It is the 19th day of April.
It's the end of April. Where did this month go?
Well, in another 10 days.
Yeah, I mean, it's already at the end. I wouldn't say it's the
Well,
middle.
we're more than halfway through.
Right.
Just
It's almost
barely.
August.
And so if today's
Start Christmas shopping.
Today's 4/19, tomorrow's 4/20, the pot day.
Yes, it is.
All right. Hey, this fascinating series of events taking place at the Southern White House, Mar-a-Lago in Florida, where Shinzo Abe, who heads up Japan, who's struck up a great relationship with this president, more proof of that, as they had a series of talks, not primarily on trade, but they're also talking about North Korean talks. Why? Because it affects so much with Japan, because it's their security. And their main focus, medium-range missiles and the abduction of Japanese citizens. They do not know what happened. They want to get some answers. And meanwhile, I think they made their point yesterday. But the most fascinating thing to emerge over the last 2 days has been the visit by CIA Director Mike Pompeo to meet face-to-face with Kim Jong-un to see if, in fact, this was worth the president's time. The word is, it's worth the president's time.
Pompeo went, he sat down with him, and he laid the groundwork, which was amazing, phenomenal. I don't think this has ever happened. And so it's incredible if our president does get this meeting with Kim Jong-un and then Kim Jong-un denuclearizes his country. It would be phenomenal. The president said this about that meeting.
I will be meeting with Kim Jong-un in the coming weeks to discuss the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Hopefully that meeting will be a great success, and we're looking forward to it. It would be a tremendous thing for North Korea and a tremendous thing for the world. We've never been in a position like this with that regime. If I think that it's a meeting that is not going to be fruitful, we're not going to go. If the meeting when I'm there is not fruitful, I will respectfully leave the meeting.
And according to Mr. Pompeo, he told the president apparently that he has set the table, that Mr. Kim Jong-un is ready to go ahead and wheel and deal. To the extent, don't know, but the president made it very clear that if it's not as planned, he's going to hit the exit. Now, here's the thing. Mike Pompeo currently is the CIA director. He's waiting to be confirmed as the Secretary of State. Although we have on this program reminded folks that Rand Paul has made it very clear he's litigating the Iraq war. He does not like the idea of Mike Pompeo as Secretary of State, and so he's a no. However, the president yesterday made it very clear. He said, you know, Rand Paul, he's never let me down. He said he has talked to Mr. Paul, and it sounds like when it's time to vote, Rand Paul probably, if you read between the lines, will be a yes, which means then it would probably still move to the main Senate floor. But the question is, can they get any Democrats to vote with all the Republicans? Well, when it comes to Senator Rand Paul, he says, I'm going to have the meeting at the president's request, one-on-one. And then what I want Mike Pompeo to do is basically disavow all his beliefs, that there needs to be a presence in the Middle East, that Afghanistan is not done, that he wants him to say the Iraq war was a mistake, and that we shouldn't have a presence there. By the way, Mike Pompeo doesn't believe that. That's the problem. Rand Paul, he's true to his school perhaps, but he's an outlier. And he could single-handedly destroy Mike Pompeo in conference, make it go to the main floor, where amongst the Republicans who are on the fence, Senator John McCain just had a surgery, won't be there, and Senator Jeff Flake says, beats me, I'm not sure how I'll vote.
Well, Senator Cory Gardner, he's a Republican from Colorado, he said there's really no good reason to vote against Mike Pompeo. Listen to this.
I think the Senate historian has said, going back to at least 1925, this has never happened for a Secretary of State nominee. It's happened in other nominations, but you don't want this to happen. That's clear. There really is no good reason to vote against Mike Pompeo. I think we can work with Rand Paul. I hope that, those conversations continue to gain his support, but there really is no reason by the Democrats who voted for Mike Pompeo to be CIA director to oppose his nomination for Secretary of State other than blind and absurd partisanship.
It's blind and absolutely. The growing opposition from the Democrats suggests that the Democrats do not want the president to have anybody on his national security team who is in lockstep with the president. But you look historically, we've never seen this kind of thing regarding a Secretary of State. For instance, on George W. Bush's first Secretary of State, Colin Powell, was confirmed by unanimous voice consent. Hillary Clinton, when she ran for Secretary of State, her confirmation, only 2 no votes. John Kerry got 3. Are you telling me every single Democrat is going to say, nope, not going to give the president the guy he wants? That would be historic.
The pressure on these Democrats in Republican states will be strong. Joe Manchin is really going to vote against a guy so qualified, #1 at West Point, a star at Harvard. You're going to tell me John Tester is really going to say to the people of Montana, I vote with the president a lot, you can trust me, and not vote for this Secretary of State? By the way, the harder vote was Tillerson, a guy who came out of business, got an award from Vladimir Putin. That was a tougher vote. This should be a layup. He's already proven himself in a very respected CIA director who has the president's respect because he briefs him every day. What is extraordinary is I don't want him agreeing with the president too much.
Right.
How dare they? What are they, the supervisor of the president?
They're together on the same page. Keep in mind, the Senate has already confirmed Mike Pompeo once, and the vote was 66 to 32. Why would it be any different this time?
If he's good enough to run the CIA, wouldn't he be good enough for this position as well?
Hello.
All right, another news. The president is heading to Key West. You know, he's down in Mar-a-Lago, so he's going to head down to Key West to go to this anti-smuggling center. In the meantime, yesterday, California's governor, Jerry Brown, said that he will deploy those 400 National Guardsmen all over the state, but there are conditions. He says they will not enforce immigration laws, and they will not help construct a wall.
That's right.
Yeah, what a joke this is. Here's the quote. California's National Guard service members shall not engage in any direct law enforcement role nor enforce immigration laws. So that's the key. Arrest people for immigration law violations like getting here illegally, guard people taken into custody for alleged immigration violations, or support immigration law enforcement activities. What are they going to do? The laundry? I mean, what are they bothering for? That's what the federal government's paying for, to show up in camouflage and not doing anything?
Well, but that's not the intent. That's not why the president ordered them up. So if I was, I'm sure people are going, well, Mr. President, you're going to fund 400 National Guardsmen in the great state of California if they're not going to do what you want them to do? It seems like a no-brainer. It seems like, Jerry Brown is just finding busy work for them. Meanwhile, Jamil Shaw Sr., he's been on this program a number of times. He lost his son to somebody who was in this country illegally. He was on about a half an hour ago talking to us about a message for Jerry Brown. We asked him if he had one, and he did, and boy, was it powerful.
Every person who's died is your fault. You, Kevin DeLeon, all you left-wing nuts, legal alien lovers who don't care about our family. We go to the cemetery to see our family. We have pictures. We kiss pictures. What do? If your grandchild or your daughter's child or anybody like that what would you do, Jerry Brown? So all we have is memories or what could have been. And then he's here to protect us. You're not here for illegal aliens. We put you in office, and you're here to protect us.
Boy.
That is so powerful. That poor man, he spends every holiday without his child.
Every
because
day.
There was an illegal immigrant that was here and killed his son. And this guy had a long rap sheet, too.
Right. This guy should not have been in the country. And the Department of Homeland Security has just released some startling numbers of forget about the criminals who have been released, but the number of criminal aliens who were members of gangs has just come out. And I know the numbers are kind of hard to see, but look at California. They released 89 gang members into society without calling ICE. And you got Maryland 13, the state of Texas, I think, is 11, and along with Washington.
Because Austin's a sanctuary city?
Probably. And then New York here, where we are, 4, and the list goes on and on. It's just extraordinary, the number of states that are not cooperating with the federal government.
Political geniuses out there. If you're a Democrat, most of the American people want the border reinforced, and most people want their immigration laws reinforced. The numbers are strong. So even if you want to play politics, you're playing it wrong. Number two is he says, Governor Brown came out and said, listen, you guys are playing with numbers and you act like all criminals are illegal immigrants. It's not the point. We know there's people here in this country who are horrible people who commit crimes and are waiting to go to jail and should. But it's like saying because there are traffic accidents, it's okay to drink and drive and have a traffic accidents. Traffic accidents are unavoidable. People will die. I get that. But if you drink and drive or use any type of drugs and drive, that, of course, is breaking the law and the chances are higher. Why would you allow that? You don't. So why would you allow illegal criminals to stay here? You shouldn't. And that's my point to Governor Brown.
2/3 released of these gang members released occurred in California, Governor Brown. 15 of these are in MS-13 gangs, known for those gruesome crimes. Brian, in your neck of the woods where MS-13 lives, you did that story with those two families. Those were the same families that were invited to the State of the Union address. Those moms, when you hear their stories of what their daughters went through, they were young girls, high school members. The police couldn't even identify these young girls. That's how gruesome their murders were.
All they've got to do is cooperate with the feds, which happens all across the country, except in certain spots, and that's what's so frustrating.
We just want our country to be safe.
All right, here's Jillian. If she cooperates, she'll be reading the news, but you could choose not to.
I may not want to.
Would you, as a favor?
Should.
Okay. The show would grind to a halt.
We don't want that to happen. Good morning to you. Let's get you caught up on some of the other stories that we're following. Starting here, just one day after that nightmare explosion on a Southwest plane, the engine of a Delta jet catches fire. Check it out. You can see the thick black smoke coming out from under the wing, forcing the plane heading from Atlanta to London to turn back.
Issue with the engine on the right-hand side. Apparently there's some smoke coming from it.
Firefighters spraying the plane down with foam on the tarmac. No one was hurt and passengers were put on another flight. The cause of the fire is under investigation. Let's take you to Houston right now on a live look where the city is celebrating the life of former First Lady Barbara Bush. City Hall lighting up in her favorite color. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner inviting the public to a celebration of life on the steps of City Hall tonight. There will be prayers for the former First Lady, remarks by special guests, and a performance by the Houston Children's Chorus. Adam Housley will have more on the final goodbyes to the First Lady in just a few minutes. Let's look at your headlines, so make sure you stay tuned for that.
All right, Jillian, thanks.
The picture of all the First Ladies. That's
Yep.